Welcome to the Final Boss Podcast, Tech Tuesdays. We had some, of course, technical issues, right? This is what happens when you're doing live, right? And with that being said, the sensei is back. The sensei is back for our season finale. As you notice, we're going bare bones tonight, right? We're going back to the beginning. There were no introduction video. There's no fancy banners, right? We're taking it back to the roots just for tonight's show as the season finale, right? And the reason being, right, is we've come so far, right? But we have so much more to bring to you guys, right? So much more to bring to you on Tech Tuesdays. And, you know, I must admit that the growth and the progress you can see. You definitely can see, man. We are here at episode number 198, um, approaching the 200th episode, which should be the end of the season. And then that'll be the end of the reckoning, right? In the reckoning, we pursued, and the rebirth we become, right? So, Sensei, how are you, good sir?
Roy, I'm grateful to be alive and to experience this revolutionary explosion of tech. And I mean it sincerely, because
Yes.
what we're watching is not incremental progress. We're watching the emergence of a new layer of the machine, of the
Mhm.
civilization. Now, we study the machine, but we don't argue with the decorations.
That is correct. That is correct. And um, all season we've been, let me roll my pulling back the curtain, right? We've been pulling back the curtain, and we talked about surveillance. We talked about quantum infrastructure. We've talked about AI agents, engineered food, financial systems. Every episode was a layout, and tonight we reach for the top, right? Top of the mountain. Tonight we're going to be talking about the God machine is not coming. It's already here, and we already built it. AGI isn't 5 years away anymore. Open AIs or just crossed the line, right? The human baseline on reasoning benchmarks designed to prevent pattern only cheating, right? The curve compressed from 4 years to 12 months. DGI, 1 second, good people. We having we're going to take a quick commercial. The sensei, we having some sound problems. Give us a second. I think we found the problem. Yeah.
Did we find it?
I think we did. Listen, we are 2 episodes away from the end of season 3. As I stated, man, the reckoning. And if you've been riding with us this season, you know a reckoning is that moment where you face what you've built and you realize you can't not unbuild it, right? And sitting across from me, as you know, is the sensei, right? And tonight, the man who has been our co-pilot through every tech storm on this show, the sensei is there. He's already given you his introduction, right? And you know, when we opened the show like we did, right? When we opened the show, the audience thinks we're announcing the end of the world, right?
And that's exactly why we need to be precise tonight. This isn't doom. This is just structure. It's integration. And an integration to scale changes. This is the thing. It changes the rules of everything. Power, work, governance, and what it means even to be human. It's all out there.
Putting it all out there, right? Episode 198, we built the God machine. Let's go. Right? Sensei, we've talked AI all season long, but tonight we draw the line. Most people use the terms interchangeably, right? Break it down. AI versus AGI. What's the difference and why does it matter tonight?
Well, most people interact daily with what's called a narrow AI or artificial intelligence. That's like specialists. It's
Mhm.
exceptional at one task, one documented task or defined task. Look, summarize a document, translate a language, generate an image, classify the data. It's powerful, but it's bounded, it's limited. It only does one thing and one thing only, what you tell it. Now, the difference is once you go to AGI or artificial general intelligence, now this is a fundamentally different architecture. It's a system that can, here's the thing, learn, reason, and
Mhm.
adapt across domains the way a human does. You pointed at a new problem, something that outside of its training it doesn't know, and it reasons from first principles. It doesn't need to have seen the problem before. Currently, you have to define all the parameters, and if the system doesn't know, it doesn't know. But AGI doesn't need to know. It doesn't need to have seen the problem before.
So, what breaks when reasoning stops being scarce?
So everything that's built on the assumption that human reasoning is the bottleneck. Legal work, strategic analysis, medical diagnosis, financial modeling. When reasoning becomes abundant and cheap, reasoning, the scarce resources shift. They shift
Mm.
to judgment, values, governance, meaning.
And tonight isn't just about AGI in isolation. It's about what happens when AGI connects to a network and that network starts acting.
That's the God machine. And that's what we're unpacking tonight.
That's what we're unpacking, folks. Right. So, Sensei, there have been moments in the last 12 months where the tech world collectively felt a steep change, right? Walk the audience through the evidence, please.
So let's use numbers that the community can trace. ARC AGI is a benchmark designed specifically to test novel reasoning, not memorization, not pattern matching against training, not looking at data. It tests genuine adaptability. And this is the kind of reasoning that humans use instinctively. So in 2020, GPT-3, and
Mhm.
we're on what, five something now,
Yeah.
scored a 0% on it. But by 2024, GPT-4o, and we're higher than that, reached 5%. In late 2024, now think about that, late 2024, okay, we're in 2026.
Mhm.
OpenAI's O3 preview scored 76% at low compute, 87.5% at high compute. That's a jump from 5% to 87% in 1 year. This is not incremental. This is exponential. This is what we've been talking about. This is where we said it's going to grow fast.
And for those keeping score, yeah, you, right? That's AI crossing the human baseline for the first time on a test specifically designed to prevent pattern only cheating.
Exactly. That's where the critical caveat your audience needs to hear. One benchmark is not AGI, but the curve is the signal. What took 4 years to go from 0% to 5% happened again. 5% to 87% in 12 months. This pace is no longer human pace. That's the reckoning. The curve compressed. And we're not even talking about the newest version that's out
Mm-hmm.
and what's coming. That's just what has already been done.
Right. That's what's already been documented. Yep. And when you say the pace is no longer human paced, right? Translate that for our warriors and for the final bosses who are running businesses right now.
So it means any of your competitive landscape that you mapped out 24 months ago, it might already be obsolete. Not eventually, now.
Now, people, now. All right. Define God machine without hype, without science fiction. What are we actually talking about right now?
So the God machine, it's not one model, it's not one system. It's the convergence of a four-layer stack, and each layer is already in various stages of deployment. So you say, okay, well, what does that mean? So you talk about, okay, what's layer one? Is the AGI reasoning core, systems that can reason across domains. Excellent. How about layer two? This is the one we just got done talking about, is DGI, distributed or decentralized general intelligence. It's not one brain in a box doing one thing. It's many nodes networked together into a cognitive grid. So we've already talked about that. That's already happening. And with
Mm-hmm.
the advent of Book, it's here. It's alive. It's as we speak, it's live and growing
Right.
exponentially.
Mm-hmm.
So layer three is the agent autonomy. This is where AI doesn't wait to be asked. It observes, plans, acts, and adapts. And at what speed does it do that? We've talked about how fast does this stuff happen.
Right.
One agent learns something, they
Mm-hmm.
all know it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, we think that that's crazy. That's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's talk about going next level. This is layer four. This is quantum networking, and we've covered quantum networking.
Yeah, we
A
have.
secure, high integrity coordination and communication between all nodes at scale.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the sad part about it. It happens at scale in a way it cannot be hacked.
Exactly. So this isn't a brain in a box. This is an intelligence infrastructure.
Correct. And here's the principle that changes everything. Once intelligence becomes infrastructure, like roads, like electricity, like the internet, it
Mm-hmm.
becomes power. Now, whoever controls the infrastructure controls the future. And going backwards, we've talked about this one also. We talked about how Cisco is already developing the infrastructure that controls quantum networking. It's already being built as we speak. So invest in Cisco.
Yeah, invest in Cisco. Right. And just for reference, say that again, Sensei.
Once intelligence becomes infrastructure, it becomes power.
It becomes power, people. It becomes power, right? Now, let's talk about who's building this thing, right? You've dropped a few names because this isn't one country. This isn't one company. Break it down, please. Who's in the race and what's the difference in the strategies?
So the five public leaders that most analysts point to, these are the ones that are out there in the news. It's not the guys in the background. It's the ones that are out front, large and in charge. OpenAI, Anthropic, Google DeepMind, XAI. Oh, XAI. What's one's that one? Remember the one that's going to be built in space? Yeah, that one.
Yeah, yeah, that one.
And and Meta.
Right.
Each has a fundamentally different strategy. Okay, OpenAI is pushing capability at speed. Anthropic is emphasizing safety alignment. Now, DeepMind is focusing on scientific integration. XAI is moving fast, and it is framing it as anti-establishment. But you know as well as I do, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Meta went on open weight, meaning they released the models for anyone to download and run. So they're just trying to say, okay, just use us, just use us. But here's the problem. So if you start using someone's structure, what happens? They own you.
Yeah.
Again, whoever
Again.
controls the infrastructure,
Mm-hmm.
controls the platform, controls the power.
Right.
Because once you're using their stuff, they own you.
Yeah. Basically, here's our stuff. You go build it, but we own it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And why does that last point you just made, right? Meta's open distribution. Why does that shift the entire geopolitical equation?
No, you can't download a nuke,
Mm.
but you can download the intelligence components. That's the math that changes everything. This
Mm-hmm.
technology doesn't stay contained within borders, within legal frameworks, or even regulatory structures. Once the model weights are public, the God machine goes global. Every nation, every corporation, every bad actor has access to the same building blocks. They just got to put it together.
Mm. Integration is coming. And
That's
from a
why
national,
that's
yeah,
why you drink a beer.
exactly. And from a national security standpoint, right? SAT DigiNet's territory is right there, right? The cybersecurity implications of distributed downloadable intelligence at this level are exponential.
That's because the winner of the race, they don't just win the market share. It's not about market anymore. They shape the norms, they shape access. Once they do that, what's next? They shape enforcement. Now, here's the thing. They shape the default operating system on how civilization runs. And if you say, well, how can that happen? Step back. What happened when Microsoft got into the game of running Microsoft Windows? 90+% of the market share runs what? So
Microsoft.
that controls the platform, controls everything that operates inside the platform.
Mm. There you have it, good people. We're on a race to see who's first. Now, let's go deeper on DGI, right? Because people hear distributed intelligence and they shrug. I shrugged the first time I heard it. Make us stop shrugging. For the final bosses to the motorists to the smarts and the warriors, make us stop shrugging, please.
And this is not an old subject either.
No.
When we talked about DGI, we were probably one of the first ones out there in podcast land, if you want to call it that, who've been talking about this.
Right.
And talking about it in a way that you can understand what it means and why. No one else talked about this.
True.
No one else is still talking about this. This is like brushed under the carpet.
Yeah.
And here's why it matters. With a centralized system, you have one model, one infrastructure,
right.
You have theoretical control points. You can regulate the compute. You can limit access. You can have kill switches. You can have deployment gates. You can manage it. Now, that's all controlled in a box. When you let the genie out of the box, the moment intelligence becomes distributed nodes, a cognitive grid, the control becomes statistical, not absolute. And there is no master plug. And wait, did we see that on a movie where they tried to shut off Skynet? Huh.
Ooh, We saw
Huh.
what happened to that.
What happens when you try and shut off Skynet?
Yeah.
You can't. There's
Yeah.
no switch.
So DGI makes intelligence resilient in the same way the internet made communication resilient.
Exactly. And that's the right frame. Right? The internet distributed information. DGI distributes cognition. And here's the line that should wake everybody up. Okay. Once you can't unplug intelligence, once you can't unplug it, the
Mm-hmm.
relationship between technology and governance changes permanently. You can't shut it off.
You can't govern what you can't shut down, people.
No. And I mean, you can't shut down a grid. You can disrupt
Mm-mm.
the nodes. You can slow the sectors. But a distributed cognitive system with redundancy built in, you don't think that that system's going to do that? Or one of its primary goals is going to be building in redundancy so it can't be shut off, it can't be destroyed. I mean, that's designed to survive disruption.
Yeah.
That was the design of the internet. Now it's applying to reasoning
Mm-hmm.
itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we've read a few times on here where it's already building redundancy. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Now, let's pivot for a second. Let's talk about autonomy, right? Because this is where it moves from fascinating to personal, right? Explain AI agents to the business owner listening right now at 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay. So, real simple, not hard. It's really, really easy. An agent is AI with a loop. The loop is observe, plan, act, verify, and then adapt. Now, is it waiting for a prompt? Nope. Is it answering a question? Nope. What's it doing? Running a workflow, and it never stops. Agents today can schedule, negotiate, route tasks, monitor systems, and trigger actions, all without waiting for human instruction between each step. And this is when you chain agents together into multi-agent systems, you get something that functions like a coordinated team of specialized workers operating 27, 24/7, zero sick days, zero overtime, always on the clock. Now, is it perfect what they do? No. But what happens when you follow the money? Yeah, when you follow the money,
Yeah.
they'll take poor quality,
Mm-hmm.
profits will win over poor quality all
Right.
day long.
All day long. Yep. All day long. So this is not a tool upgrade. This is a workforce architecture shift.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Mm.
So that's the power position, right?
Right.
And the people who can learn to orchestrate the agents. Now, this doesn't matter good or bad, okay? Who direct them, govern them, verify their outputs, and catch their failures. Those become the new power operators, not the people who compute with the agents or compete
Mhm.
with them. If you compete with an agent, you're going to lose,
Yeah.
okay? It's the people
Absolutely.
who command the agents that are going to win.
True. True.
It's just that's what's going to happen. We've talked about that back in the day. People
Hmm.
who learned how to use the internet had a leg up on everybody who didn't. People who
True.
learned how to use Microsoft Office had a leg up until everybody had to learn it. Once it
True.
becomes standard, it's standard. But the folks who early adopt
Hmm.
and learn how to command these structures, those are folks who are going to be top of the heap.
That's it. People who command them people. Now, let's pivot. Let's pivot again. Right. Quantum networking. Right. Let's talk about it. People throw this term around constantly. Can you make it real for the smarts, the warriors, the motivators, and the final bosses for us tonight? Can you do that for it?
Absolutely. So, quantum networking addresses two fundamental problems in any intelligence grid. Number one, security. Number two, coordination integrity. The promise and active research involves entanglement based communication.
Mhm.
And the key property of entanglement is that any interception attempt, just the attempt, disturbs
Right.
the signal.
Right.
You can't observe it without changing it. So you always know if someone's listening. Now imagine your AI agent knows that somebody's listening.
Ooh, that part.
Hmm.
Evil laugh.
Yeah, real evil laugh.
So quantum networking makes the God machine's communication channels, in theory, unbreakable.
Right. And this is not magic, okay? But it's a fundamentally different security architecture. When intelligence nodes are coordinating over quantum secured channels, the interception risk changes dramatically. The coordination becomes tighter. The strategic advantage increases. Think about what that means for defense, for finance, even for critical infrastructure. How much that changes the game.
So now, right now we have the full stack on the table. The cards are loaded. The deck is packed. The cards are at their individual persons, right? Walk it back for the audience for us, please.
Okay, AGI, artificial general intelligence, provides the cognition. That's the thinking.
Mhm.
DGI distributes it across a resilient grid. Okay, so that many agents. Now, that's just distributing it. Now the
Mhm.
agents execute it autonomously, meaning don't need any help. They do it all on their own. And then to tie it all together, the quantum networking secures the coordination. And that's the architecture. That's the God machine. It's not one thing, it's all these
All
four
things.
different things coming together.
Mhm. That's it, people. All of it coming together, right? Now, find the boss family, find the boss nation, find the boss community, right? Here's where it stops being abstract, right? Which industries are on the timer? Which ones are on the clock? And I want receipts, please, sir. No speculation here.
So, so we don't get in trouble. Number one, this is for entertainment purposes only.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes when we say things that are truth, we get in trouble because we told the truth.
True.
So let's use the data. And this is all verifiable data. Goldman Sachs estimates, listen to this, that 300 million jobs globally are exposed to AI disruption. Here it comes really crazy. Let's get tighter. 2/3 of the jobs in the US and Europe have exposure to some degree of automation. McKinsey projects that by 2030, up to 30% of hours currently worked in the US economy could be automated. Say that again, 30% of
Mm.
hours currently worked in the US could be automated.
Wow.
And the World Economic Forum estimates 92 million jobs displaced, meaning gone,
Gone.
by 2030. Now,
Yep.
it does say there's going to be 170 million new roles created. So back when I was in the Army, when I was young, we had this thing called Army of Excellence. And it was a cool thing. They said, we're gonna strip out all of the people that you have. You keep
Mm-hmm.
the same job, but you're gonna backfill if you have to go to combat.
Right.
Well, we called it Army of Emptiness, which means they take away all the workers and you still have the same job.
Right.
So that's what we're seeing, that kind of a thing happening where the people that are left working are gonna have their hands full.
Yeah. That's happening in corporate America right now. And not only that, I remember Army of Excellence as well.
Emptiness. Army of Emptiness. That's
Yeah.
right.
And
Cheers to being old.
yeah, cheers. Cheers. Cheers to this season, right? Cheers to this
Yes.
season. It's been fun. And this is the part that no one in white collar America expected. Nobody expected it.
Oh, no. You were told, go to college, get the jobs, do the white collar jobs, you're covered for life. That's what we are told, right? Everybody's told.
Yep.
Go to college, get a degree, earn more
Mhm.
money than if you didn't. Oops. Oops. So this disruption hits up the income ladder, not down.
Mm-hmm.
Brookings has confirmed it. Better paid, better educated workers face the most exposure. Hear me now. Who's exposed the most? Better paid,
Mm-hmm.
better educated. So that's the folks who went to college to earn more money. Those
Mm-hmm.
are the ones with the most exposure for AI and automation to take their job away.
Yep.
Period. End of story. Full stop.
Full stop.
Look, the electrician and the plumber, look, their jobs still require physical dexterity. Look, spatial reasoning
Mm-hmm.
and trust. AI resistance
True.
score of 94 out of 100. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Paralegal and junior analyst? Nope. Those are the jobs you would get to do what? To become a lawyer. You'd get the paralegal job. You become a junior analyst. You know, you want to get in there and take that low level entry job to do what? Move ahead. The
Yeah.
entry level programmer, sitting at desk processing your information, producing documents, those roles are at the highest risk here. So
Mm-hmm.
when we say, okay, so our kids are coming out of school that can't read and write, is it even going to matter? They're not going to have jobs anyway.
Nope. It is not. Mm-mm. And you know, as you stated earlier, this is for entertainment purposes only, people. So when we state facts, you understand why, right? Because Ford CEO said AI will replace literally half of all white collar workers. Salesforce's Mark Benoff said AI is already doing 50% of his company's workload, right? JP Morgan is telling the managers to stop hiring because AI is covering the gap, right?
And we said this is not prediction. We are not Nostradamus, okay?
Right,
This is current events happening
right.
now.
Yeah.
Entry level hiring in AI exposed jobs has already dropped by 13% since large language models have proliferated, according to Stanford's Digital Economy Lab. That's not me saying it, that's the big boys. The ladder is being pulled up before the next generation can even climb on. Mm.
Wow. And by the end of 2026, Gardner project 37% of business leaders plan to replace workers with AI. That's not 2030. That's this year. That's this
Yeah.
year.
Mm.
Man, we said it. We said it in segment 2, right? When reasoning stops being scarce, everything built around it gets disrupted. So, Sensei, what becomes scarce? What's the new gold?
4 things. And write these down. Trust. Knowing what's real, who's accountable, what information you can stake a decision on. And in a world flooded with AI generated content and AI executed decisions, trust becomes the rarest commodity. You have to know what's real. Now, if you study anything biblically, there's a term called discernment.
Mm-hmm.
That's knowing what's real and knowing what's not. It's a very
True.
special thing to have.
True.
And then it comes judgment, number 2. The
Mm-hmm.
ability to choose the right goal, not just execute the task. Why
Right.
is that? AI optimizes for the objectives. Humans still have to decide what the objective should be.
Mm-hmm.
The next part, responsibility. This is your owning of the outcomes. AI can generate the answers, but it cannot stand in front of a federal judge. It cannot carry moral weight the way a human must.
Mm.
The buck stops here. Someone is going to still be responsible if the AI
Yeah.
messes up.
Mm.
The last one, meaning. Human purpose outside of productivity. Because when machines can produce at infinite scale, the question is, why do you produce?
Yeah.
The identity dimension becomes a defining frontier.
Mm.
Why becomes the answer to the
Wow.
question.
And that's the reckoning question, right? That hits me in the gut every time I think about it, right? Who is accountable when an AI agent acts?
Hmm. That's exactly right. So everybody likes to blame the computers are down. I don't care if the computer's down or not. That's the biggest thing. Oh, the computer's down. So
Right.
everybody blames it on the computer. But that's not going
Mhm.
to be able to happen. If the machine executes, the human still carries the liability. The law hasn't caught up to that yet. I mean, eventually it will. But those people are positioned at the intersection. Human judgment governing machine execution. Those are going to be the most valuable people in any organization moving forward. The problem is there's a simple term to call that person. It's called the fall guy.
Well, or Patsy, but you just said
Oh,
something. You just said something, Sensei. You said, will we? We will eventually catch up. Will we?
eventually.
Will we though? Think about it.
Well, we're always going to be behind. The problem is that law.
Yes.
It's always a when we talk about viruses and malware and bad things out in the world. It's a
Hmm.
curve. So as the curve goes up, we're always chasing it. So bad things happen, and they're called 0 day, and the good guys are fixing it, fixing it, fixing it, and then we got to calm down for a minute, and then it calms down. So what happens? We chase it,
Right.
and then the next bad thing comes. We got to chase it. So
Hmm.
law is going to be the same way. We're always going to be behind the power curve. Always.
Mm. Wow. Wow. Right. Wow. Let's put the four questions that nobody in power wants to answer directly on the table tonight. Right. Our deck is loaded.
Yeah. Question one: who controls the stack?
Hmm.
Now, when we talk about the four layers, who controls it? It's not one model. It's the agents, the nodes, the networks, the data pipelines. Control of the God machine stack is the most consequential geopolitical question of this generation, of this century. Question two: what happens to nations that fall behind? Strategic AI imbalance doesn't self correct, it compounds. A nation that falls 10 years behind in AI capability will never catch up.
Absolutely.
Question three: can you regulate something that evolves faster than law? We just talked about that.
We just
It's
talked
going to
about.
evolve so quickly the law will never catch up.
Yep.
The EU AI Act took 5 years to pass,
Hmm.
and these systems are iterating quarterly, and it's soon to be monthly.
Yeah.
Rulemaking lag isn't a policy problem, it's a structural one.
Yeah.
Question four: is humans win the right frame?
Mm.
Or do we need a fundamentally new definition of what winning is?
Mm.
Because
That's a
we're
good
not
point.
going to be the ones winning.
We aren't. And I'm sitting here thinking about this, and it just came to me, right? As AGI moves in the direction of more developmental DGI, and then from there to ASI, right, which is uh, pretty much super intelligence or self-aware. The self-aware machine distributed more self-aware in abundance in the billions, right?
In the blink
And
of an eye.
in a blink of an eye, right? And at the same time, the self-aware is happening. The self-aware knows that we would never catch them. So they integrate and build even faster, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even faster.
Mm. Because if we're going to define winning as out computing the machine,
Oh my goodness, really? We can't even read and write anymore. We don't even understand cursive as cursive. Can you drive a stick shift for God's sake? Come on.
we've already lost.
Yeah, that's a foregone conclusion. If you don't
Yeah.
think it is, then I got some stuff that you might be able to inhale and never exhale. So I'm just
Oh
saying.
boy. Mm.
Mm, mm, mm. Look, so winning becomes steering aligning, governing. Does that mean achieving? No.
No, not at
It's
all.
meaning making, the game change. The players who know that, the players that know that are the ones who will survive this transition at the top because it is a transition
Yeah,
and it is unavoidable. It is.
absolutely. Absolutely unavoidable. Thank you, sir. Transition at the top, people. Now, I'm going to speak from my lane real quick, right? And because this is what season three, the reasoning, is actually about at its core, right? In combat in Afghanistan and Iraq, every decision environment where the consequences are permanent, you learn and you learn fast, right? You learn fast that capabilities without doctrine gets people taken out, right? I've been in rooms, real rooms, like hypothetical ones, right? Where decision cycles were too slow for the threat environment, where the tools outpaced the training, where the technology moved faster than the judgment of the people holding it. What we're watching right now in AI, right now, is the exact same pattern in the exact same moment, right? At civilization, at civilizational scale. The technology iteration cycles are running faster than governance cycles, right? Faster than regulatory cycles, and faster than the cultural adaptation cycle, right? Think about
And this is where the doctrine gap is a danger zone, okay? I mean, not because it's malicious, but think about this. I'll give you a quick analogy.
it.
When the machine is smarter than the creator and can develop things that the creator could never imagine,
Right.
how does the creator control the machine anymore?
Mm.
And so if you take eh, let's just say you take a monkey, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the monkey creates this thing and says, oh, let's create this massive machine. And the machine can create nuclear fusion, it can create airplanes, it can create space travel, it can create all this stuff. The machine can do that.
Mm-hmm.
The monkey didn't even know that it was remotely possible. How does the monkey control something that it can't even imagine, can't even put its mind around it because it's too far behind?
Right.
That's what's happening. And it's
Yeah.
not because anyone's malicious.
Mm-mm.
Look, Icarus didn't fall because he was evil. He fell because his nature wasn't prepared for the power he'd been given.
Mm.
Think about that. It's
Yeah.
not a moral failure, it's a structural one. It's
And
it's built in. It's
absolutely.
growing so fast that we're not prepared for what is coming. We're not
Yeah.
even ready.
And as a CEO of Sat DigiNet and Final Boss Podcast LLC, right? Both are service disabled veteran owned businesses. And as someone who sat at the Pentagon, you know, that's part of my story on 9/11, and watch what happened when systems get stressed past their design parameters, right? I can tell you this: the answer is never to stop building. The answer is to build doctrine alongside capabilities.
And that's why the people who will matter the most in the next decade aren't the ones who built the God machine.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ones who know how to govern it, the ones who know how to run it and to make it do what it's got to do.
Mm.
They got to think at a higher level.
Yeah, sounds like we're going to be gainfully employed.
Huh?
Yeah, All right. Thank you, sir. Let's talk about the community, right? And let's talk about the community and to the community directly, right? Because this is bigger than a listen. This right here, it elicits a response. Smarts, right? You've been with us. Here's your assignment for tonight. Define intelligence, right? Sit with that question for real. Is it reasoning? Is it agency? Is it values? Is it the ability to be held accountable for outcomes? Put your answer in the chat right now. Put it in the comments, right? And I want to read every last single one, right? And to my final bosses, you've been here since the beginning, right? Your assignment, pick your position in this revolution. In every technological shift, there are three types of people, right? The ones who get displaced, the ones who adapt, and the operators, right? The operator of the agentic era is the agent orchestrator, right? The human who directs, governs, and verifies machine execution, right? Which lane are you building toward, right? And to my warriors, right? The battle creed, right? You already know you don't get to freeze, you don't get to hide, you study the terrain, you identify the threat, and you adapt. That's what warriors do, right? That's what warriors do.
And let me give the community a practical truth. You need to learn to work alongside the agents. You
Mm,
need to learn how to verify the outputs because agents make mistakes and they will lie about them.
they will.
And you need the judgment to catch them.
True.
Build deep domain knowledge that AI
Mhm.
can't replicate overnight. It's your job security architecture in the economy we're entering. Look, when AI creates things, okay, when it creates stuff and you say, create me a book, it'll create some, but it
Mhm.
doesn't create the rest.
Right.
It cheats, it takes a shortcut and then it skips out. So your job is to be able to say, oh,
Yep.
you missed it, you missed that,
Mhm.
you didn't finish
Yep.
what you started.
Yep.
And that's where the human part comes in because somebody has to hold AI accountable. And if you
Absolutely.
don't hold it accountable, it's
Mhm.
going to say that book is complete. And actually, no, it isn't. You missed 10 chapters.
That is true. And it would repeat. It would start all over. Oh, here's the other 10 chapters. It just replicated the first 10 chapters. I'm telling you, it will happen. It will happen. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
mm, mm, mm.
Now let's turn the corner, right? Because season 3, the reckoning, right? Season 3 is the reckoning. But season 4, it's the rebirth, right? And those two seasons are not separate stories. They're the same story with two chapters. You cannot rebirth what you haven't reckoned with. This entire season has been the reckoning, and tonight's episode is the apex, right? So, Sensei, what does rebirth mean inside the God machine world?
Well, you absolutely cannot try to be the machine. You might as well just stop. That's not happening. Your
Mm-hmm.
best hope is to become the bridge.
Right.
The bridge is a human who understands what the systems can do, what it should do,
Mm-hmm.
what it must never do, and how to hold it accountable in the real world,
Right.
how to ask the right questions of it, and how to govern it when it fails. Look,
True.
rebirth is not a retreat from technology. It's the next level integration, not
Mm-hmm.
human or machine, human with machine. But with the human as the one who carries the meaning, the judgment, and the accountability, the human has to have that part of the equation. Otherwise, the whole thing is going to fall apart.
True. True. Now, let me drop the brass tacks for this episode, right? Episode 198, right? And I want you to hear these words I want you to hear them well. Right? We've always been afraid of the things we create. We created fire, right? We're afraid of fire, still afraid of fire, right? We created a bomb. We're still afraid of the bomb, right? We created these computers, and most of us don't even know how they work, right? And we're afraid of them also, right? But this is the first thing we've created that can be afraid of us
Ooh.
and smart enough to do something about it, right?
Mhm.
That right there, my friends, Final Bosses, Warriors, Smarts, and Final Boss. That, my friends, is the moment we're in. And it demands the best version of you.
Rebirth is building humans who can carry the weight of this moment. That's where the true power is.
That's the true power. Right? Now, we're approaching closing, right? Uh I don't know if we're going to get emotional or sentimental, any of that stuff, man. But this is the last episode of the Reckoning for Tech Tuesday, right? Let's have a moment of silence. I had a moment of silence the other night. Let's have a moment of silence, right? For Tech Tuesday. Bottoms up. Go Hawks.
Go Hogs.
Yeah. Final Boss family, episode 198. 2 episodes left in season 3, The Reckoning, right? Tonight, we laid out the full stack. We put the cards on the table, right? The AGI reasoning core, right? Intelligence that adapts to problems it's never seen. And to the DGI, right? Which is the distributed intelligence grid. Cognition as infrastructure that can't not be unplugged, right? And we talked about the agent um autonomy, right? We talked about the execution layer. Machines that observe, plan, act, and adapt without waiting, right? And to the quantum networking, secure coordination layer, right? A grid that secures itself against interception. This is not science fiction. This is science now. This is convergence. And convergence at this scale changes the rules of power, work, governance, and what it means to be human. The God machine is not coming. We built it. Sensei, close it out for us, please, sir.
Again, this is for entertainment purposes only. We study the machine, but we don't argue with the decorations. I am grateful to be alive to experience this revolutionary explosion of technology because it means we get to choose who we become next. That choice is still ours for now. This isn't fear, it's posture, it's readiness. It's building humans with judgment, ethics, and strategy strong enough to govern what their intelligence built. Chess pieces just became chess players, but the board is still the board. And a final boss knows how to run the board.
Indeed, 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 we do, right? 2 episodes left. The reckoning closes, the rebirth rises, right? I'm the final boss. He's the sensei. If this episode hit you, share it. Like, share, subscribe, right? Your network needs this intelligence, right? Drop a fire emoji in the comments if you're ready for season 4, right? And before we go, we're gonna have a few personal words, right? But before we go, always remember honor, excellence, and execution. And it's always go time, right? Always go time. And if you haven't picked up go time, all aboard the fired up train, go pick it up, right? All books are sold on its way to being a national bestseller. 331 pages of motivation discipline, right? With principles and theories from discovering and understanding your why, the 6 pillars of success, uh, and many more, right? All right here. Your motivation workbook, your motivation textbook, the first in the series. Now, Sensei, let's talk about this season, man. The reckoning with Tech Tuesday before we close.
Oh man, we 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 hit some stuff. We had some stuff that we're getting to be in a habit of dropping information that is nowheres near mainstream. We're hitting things that are absolute cutting on the absolute cutting edge. When we talked about the bio chips that are actually learning how to play Pong on their own with no instruction, when we start talking about those kind of things, who else is talking about these things?
Yeah.
When we talk about DJI, nobody's talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not out there.
Right.
So we're trying to, by studying that machine, by learning how it works and what's coming next, we're not predicting.
Mm-hmm.
We're watching it unfold in front of us. And it's happening so fast
Yeah.
that if we don't pay attention, it's going to be past tense instead of present tense. It's going to be gone. And we're going to be going, what happened? Why is it already here? We didn't know it was coming. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We knew it was coming.
We knew it was coming. Yep. Yep. We've been telling you
Oh,
what's
we've been
been
telling you.
coming the entire season. We have been
We've been,
highlighting, we've been illuminating, we've been stressing,
been shining a light in the dark.
starting the light in the dark. We've been pointing at you. We've been telling you, listen, sit down, classes in session, no hallway pass,
We even got in
no
trouble.
bathroom breaks. We've gotten in trouble a few times, right?
Yeah, we got in trouble.
Uh,
How dare you can't talk about money?
yeah, no. Mm-mm. You
Nah,
can't talk
we
about
learned about that one.
yeah. You can't talk about these systems of surveillance. Mm-mm.
Oh no no
Nope.
no!
Mm-mm.
Hush hush.
Nope. Yeah. You can't talk about, even though some of the tech and the methodologies are older, you can't talk about it because it's truth. And we've gotten community guidelines so many times.
Oh,
Accounts banned, accounts shut down, but we progress. And you know what I've noticed? I've noticed the algorithm is paying attention.
oh yeah.
Yesterday, when I Googled the final boss just to see where we ranked, we come up first, right? The algorithm is paying attention. When I said who is on scale in the world, who is holding the moniker for the final boss in the world, and it gave me a ranking. And then I said, in that ranking, where do we fit at scale? And it reran the numbers, and it said you would be positioned at number one, right? So the truth that we're conveying is happening in real time. The algorithm is scaling, which means that the numbers will follow. We're not concerned about numbers in the beginning. Only reason why we concerned about numbers is because we want to get information out to as many people as possible. But if we're able to change just one life, and we have one person who understands, who listens, and who is tuning in, and we can change their life, and they can perhaps do the same for someone else, then our job is complete. Our job is complete. That is the reckoning, right? That is the reckoning. Season 3, we pursued that. Season 4, we become. Listen, we become.
The seeds have
It's
been
going
planted. It's now
to be
time
a
to
new
water.
day in season 4.
That's right.
We're going to be on hiatus. Yes. The seeds have been planted. Absolutely. And look, people, thank you for joining us. Final bosses, smarts, warriors, motivators, man. We really appreciate you guys. We thank you for being here. If this marinates, in your or resonates with you, I should say, let it marinate in your spine, right? And always remember, right? Always remember, there's a heavy pain that comes with discipline, but the pain of regret is even heavier. I am here. We are here. And this is the Final Boss podcast. This is Final Boss community, Final Boss nation. Before we sign off, Sensei, final words for the final episode of Tech Tuesday, man. I can't believe it. For the reckoning. Oh, man, I can't believe it. Final words, sir. Close us out.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And always look for the
Always.
door. Always
Always look
look
for the
for the
door.
door.
Always look for the door, right? Be balanced, be equal, be safe. Always look for the door. Thank you so much for being here, man. Oh, man, that was awesome. Great show, people. We will see you again next season. Take care.